All right, so today we're going to dive deep into something that might not sound super exciting at first,
Yeah,
but stick with us
right.
because this is retail lease renewals.
Absolutely.
And one of our listeners actually wrote in and was asking about this, like wanting to get a better understanding of renewal options and how they work and how they impact both tenants and landlords.
Yeah.
So whether you're thinking about maybe opening up a shop or you already run a business, or even if you're just curious about this whole commercial real estate world,
Right.
this deep dive is going to be full of good stuff for you.
You know, it's interesting. Lease renewals are often one of the last things that people think about
Yeah.
when they're getting started.
Yeah.
They're so focused on finding that perfect spot
Right.
and, getting their business set up that they don't really think about what happens a few years down the line.
Yeah, it's almost like you're so focused on getting the rocket launched that you forget to think about, the landing.
Exactly.
And that's where things can get messy, right? Like the stuff you sent me paints a pretty clear picture of what can happen if you don't have these renewal options.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine, like, your business is doing great.
Yeah.
You've got your customers, everyone's happy, and then bam, your
Okay.
lease is up, and you didn't get any renewal options.
Uh-oh.
So you're at the mercy of the landlord.
That's a scary thought. What could happen in that situation?
Well, they could raise the rent like sky high,
Yeah.
make it impossible to stay there. Or even worse, maybe they decide not to renew at all, and then you got to relocate.
Oof.
And that is not easy. I mean, you could lose customers, you
Totally.
got moving expenses, and you basically have to start all over.
It's not just the money. It's, your brand, your customer relationships, all that. It makes it super clear why you need those renewal options.
It's like insurance,
Yeah.
It protects you from all that chaos.
Right. It gives you the right to stay there. Not the, you don't have to stay there, but you have the right to,
Exactly.
which is huge.
It's especially important if you're a business that relies on people walking by,
Right. Foot traffic.
foot traffic, yeah. Or if you've put a lot of work into making that specific spot, like your spot.
It's your place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know we need them. But one thing that I thought was really interesting in this research is that there's like different kinds.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just one size fits all.
Definitely not. It's like different flavors, each one with its pros and cons.
Oh, okay.
So let's go through the main ones.
Okay.
We've got the fixed rate renewal.
Okay.
Pretty simple. It just says, like, exactly what the rent will be when you renew, or maybe how much it'll go up by. Like,
Yeah.
let's say your rent's $20 per square foot now.
Okay.
When you renew, it might go up to, like, $22.
So it's super predictable.
Yeah.
That's going to be good for like planning.
Oh, yeah, budgeting, everything.
since I'm-
Then we've got the CPI-based renewal. That one's based on the Consumer Price Index. That inflation thing
Okay.
protects landlords from rising costs.
But could be risky for tenants, right?
Yeah, if inflation goes crazy, so does your rent.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's probably why you see that more with government leases.
Yeah, they can handle that kind of up and down a little better.
Volatility. Yeah.
Right. And then the last one, the fair market value renewal. That's the most flexible, but
Could be some arguments there, huh?
potentially, yeah. Because what's fair market value?
Yeah.
Everyone's got a different idea.
Totally. And if you're just going to end up paying whatever the market rate is anyway, then like, what's the point of the renewal option at all?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Even with that type, the landlord can't just say, nope, you got to go.
Oh, okay.
You still have the right to stay. And that's huge, especially if it's a really competitive area.
know.
Plus, if the market takes a dip, your rent can actually go down. So it's not just about protection from rent going up.
It's like protection from missing out on a good deal, too.
Exactly. Of course, landlords are going to try to protect themselves, too, right?
Yeah. They're not just going to let the rent, like, plummet.
No, they'll have clauses in there, things like fair market value, but no less than what you're paying now. Or maybe they set a limit on how much it can go down.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot, huh?
It's a dance, a little back and forth, making sure it's fair for both sides.
Okay, I like that. And this is what I thought was really cool about this whole research thing.
Yeah.
Renewal options aren't just about protecting the tenant.
Right.
They can actually be good for landlords, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Tell me more about that.
Well, think about it. Happy tenants who know they can stay there if they want.
Right.
They're not going to move out as much.
Less turnover.
Exactly. And less turnover means the landlord saves money.
They're not constantly trying to fill empty spaces.
Exactly. No marketing, no commissions for brokers, no getting the place ready for new people.
It's like, it's better to just keep a good relationship going than to have to start over every couple of years.
Absolutely. It's like any relationship. Stability's good.
Yeah, totally.
Plus, if you're a landlord and you want to sell your building, or maybe get a loan. It looks better if you've got tenants who are going to stick around.
Because it shows the building's doing good.
Exactly. Stable, reliable income.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not just about right now, it's about the future too.
The long game.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I noticed in the research was that they talked specifically about the Dallas-Fort Worth market.
EFW. Yeah.
Is there something about that area that makes renewal options even more important there?
Yes, absolutely. It's a really hot market right now.
Oh, okay.
Tons of growth, lots of people moving there, property values are changing all the time.
So it's not just like a general rule. It's specifically because of what's happening in DFW.
Exactly. Like, let's say they announce a big new project, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, everyone wants to be in that area.
More demand.
Yeah. So rents go up. If you've got a renewal option, you're golden.
But if you don't,
That'd be tough.
wow. That's a good example. Really shows how this stuff plays out in real life.
Yeah. In a market like DFW, having that renewal option can make or break your business.
It's the difference between just surviving and actually doing well.
Exactly. Knowing you can stay there, that gives you the confidence to invest, to grow your business.
Makes sense.
It's peace of mind.
Yeah, totally. All right, so we've covered like the different kinds of renewal options and why they're so important, especially in a crazy market like DFW.
Yeah.
But now let's get more practical. Like for folks out there dealing with these leases,
Right.
what are some like key strategies when it's time to actually negotiate those renewals?
Oh, that's a great question. Because having the renewal option is just the first step. It's like knowing how to use it to actually get what you want. That's the real key.
It's like having a fancy tool, but not knowing how to use it.
Exactly.
So let's break it down. Let's say I'm a tenant. My lease is going to end in a few months.
Uh-huh.
I've got that fixed rate renewal option, but the market's like totally cooled down since I first signed the lease.
Right.
What are my options there?
Well, in that case, you're actually in a pretty good spot. You've got the security of the option, but the market's on your side now. So
Okay.
you could talk to the landlord and say, hey, let's renegotiate this fixed rate. Things have changed.
So I could maybe get a lower rent than what that fixed rate said.
Exactly. It's a starting point for the conversation.
Yeah.
And if the market's in your favor, you got to use that.
Right.
The landlord might not love it,
Yeah.
but they got to think, if I lose this tenant, it's going to cost me money to find a new one, and there's going to be that empty space for a while.
It's about leverage, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what if I'm the landlord
Yeah.
and I've got a tenant with that fair market value renewal option,
Okay.
but now the market's gone crazy, rents are way higher than when they signed the lease.
Right.
What's the best move there?
Well, you're in a good spot to raise the rent, but you got to be smart about it.
Okay.
You don't want to scare away a good tenant by being too aggressive.
Make them mad.
Yeah, because keeping those good relationships, that's important in the long run.
So how do you make sure you're getting a good return but also keeping the tenant happy?
It's all about being open and honest. Talk to them about the market, Show them what's happening out there.
All right, data.
Data, yeah. Comparable rents. Explain why you're asking for more.
Don't just spring it on them.
No. Be upfront. Show them it's justified.
Okay, so prove it, basically.
Right. And remember, a little increase might be better than a huge one.
Yeah.
They're more likely to say yes if it's reasonable and they feel like you're being fair.
Makes sense. You could even offer them something, right?
Oh, yeah, like maybe some upgrades to their space or a longer lease term.
Sweeten the deal.
Exactly.
It sounds like there's a real art to this negotiation thing.
It is. It's a dance.
Are there any, common mistakes people make?
Yeah.
Things to watch out for?
Oh, for sure. One big one for tenants is not really understanding their lease.
Okay.
They miss important stuff about the renewal options,
Right.
like deadlines or specific things they got to do to actually use that option.
So it's not enough to just, have it.
No, you got to know how to use
And
it.
it's like having the winning lottery ticket, but missing the deadline to claim it.
Exactly. And landlords, sometimes they wait too long to talk to the tenant about renewing.
Oh, yeah. Procrastination.
Yeah, and then everything's rushed, and you might miss out on a good opportunity.
It's like waiting till your car breaks down to think about maintenance.
Right. You got to be proactive.
Yeah, on both sides.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about strategies, but what about brokers? What role do they play in all this?
Oh, brokers can be super helpful. They
Mhm.
know the market inside and out.
Right.
They understand leases. They know how to negotiate.
They're like your guide.
Yeah, like a Sherpa.
Okay, I like that.
Especially for tenants who maybe haven't done this before.
Yeah.
It levels the playing field.
Because the landlords, they usually have their own people, right?
Yeah, I got their teams.
So the broker can help the tenant figure out their options.
Absolutely. Research other properties, come up with a good plan.
And for landlords, I guess the broker helps them figure out what their property's actually worth, right?
Oh, yeah. They can advise on rent prices, handle the talking with the tenant, even make sure all the paperwork's correct.
So they're like a one-stop shop.
Yeah, they handle it all.
It sounds like having a broker can save you a lot of trouble,
Oh, for sure.
but they cost money, right?
Well, yeah, they do.
Is it worth it for everyone?
That's a good question. And it depends, But a lot of times, they can negotiate a better deal for you.
Okay.
And that can save you way more money than they cost.
Like in the long run.
Exactly. Plus, they can help you avoid making mistakes that could cost you even more later.
So it's like you got to spend money to make money sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. But again, it depends on your specific situation, how complicated the deal is, all that.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today.
We have.
Different types of options, strategies, brokers, everything.
All the things.
What are some key takeaways for our listeners, as they think about their own renewals?
I think the biggest one is don't just think of these renewal options as like some legal thing.
Right.
They're tools, and they can give you stability, predictability, leverage.
Power.
Power, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about thinking ahead, not just about right now.
Long-term vision.
Exactly.
Okay, so think big picture.
Big picture, yeah. And don't wait till the last minute.
Proactive.
Proactive, do your research, talk to the other side.
Open communication.
Exactly. Be honest, try to work together.
Not like enemies.
No, you're both trying to achieve something, right?
See, that win-win.
Win-win, yeah. And don't be afraid to get help if you need it.
Lawyers, brokers, all that.
Yeah, they can make a big difference, having someone in your corner who knows what they're doing.
Okay, so be prepared, be proactive, be open, and get help if you need it.
Yeah, that's it.
Sounds like a good plan.
It is. It is. If you do all that, you'll be in good shape.
Awesome. Thanks for all the insights.
You got it.
As we're wrapping up this deep dive into these lease renewals,
Yeah.
one thing that really stood out to me in the research was just how important a good relationship between the landlord and the tenant is.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about, like, what's written in the lease.
Right.
It's about, like, actually having a good partnership.
It makes a huge difference when both sides, the landlord and the tenant,
Yeah.
they respect each other, they understand each other. That just makes everything smoother.
It's like anything else, right? Communication is key.
Oh, for sure. When landlords talk to their tenants, keep them in the loop about what's going on.
Right, like updates, market stuff.
Exactly. It builds trust,
Yeah, totally.
And when tenants tell the landlord what they need, what their problems are,
Yeah.
the landlord can actually help them out.
It's about both sides feeling, like, heard and understood. And that's got to be super important in a market like DFW.
Right. Oh, yeah, with all that competition.
If the tenant's happy, they're more likely to stick around.
Which is good for the landlord in the long run.
Right, because high turnover, that's a pain.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Empty spaces, loose rent, gotta find new tenants all the time.
So it's not just about being nice, it's about, like, smart business.
Absolutely.
And for tenants, having a good relationship with the landlord,
Yeah,
that can make a huge difference, especially when it's time to renew.
for sure. If you trust each other, you can actually talk things out.
Right, not just fight.
Exactly. Find a solution that works for both of you.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the, like, practical stuff.
Right, strategies, all that.
But there's also a bigger picture here, isn't there?
You're right. It's not just about these two people, the landlord and the tenant.
Yeah.
When lease renewals are done well, it actually helps the whole retail scene.
Oh, okay.
Tenants do well, landlords make money. And when landlords are good to their tenants, it creates a place where businesses can thrive.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly. And that helps the community, the economy, everything.
More jobs, more people shopping.
More money for the city.
It's all connected.
It is. It is. So for anyone out there listening,
Well,
whether you're a tenant or a landlord,
right?
the biggest thing to remember is
Yeah.
be smart about these renewals and work together.
Don't think of it like a war.
No. It's a partnership. You both want to succeed.
Find that win-win, like we talked about.
Exactly. That's how everyone benefits.
That's great advice. This whole deep dive has been super insightful.
Glad to hear it.
I hope our listeners feel like they can handle these lease renewals now.
Yeah, me too.
Knowledge is power.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Understanding how this stuff works, that's how you reach your goals.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And until next time, keep on learning.